Hey everybody, Dan here with The Wealth Instinct. I want to share with you my article, Get Excited, Being Boring Might Be the Secret to a Successful Business. Before I get started, if you could do me a favor and just like the channel and click the bell icon so you can be notified whenever we add new videos. What I want to talk to you about today is the idea of how being boring can make your business more successful. And the difference between being bored and being boring, right? So before I started my first business, I had a good corporate job um, that I didn't wasn't super passionate about, and I was pretty much bored out of my mind and bored to distraction. I was living kind of a life of distraction where I was able to travel a lot, I was able to have a lot of adventures, and I did some really cool stuff, right? I did caving and ice climbing and skydiving and bungee jumping and drove a Baja bug in Baja California and just all kinds of, hang gliding and all kinds of fun adventures. But I think the reason that I did all these adventures is because I was just so bored. Like my work life was not fulfilling, so I was looking for distraction. And it wasn't until I found kind of a purpose in my business that I was able um, to have some fulfillment within the work I was doing. And, when I first started, I was working, I don't know, 12 hours a day, but I loved it. Like people would look at me like, how do you work so much? And it was a fun job too. I was mostly just working with clients and training people and helping people get healthier and stuff. But I absolutely, and I wasn't making any money in the beginning. I was making no money, working tons of hours, but I was passionate and I absolutely loved it, and after doing that for a few years, obviously it paid off and was able to hire people and work hardly at all. And but this idea of being bored versus being boring, right? And so being bored is not good. Being bored to distraction sucks. It's not a way to live your life. Like it's a waste of a life, right? Like, it doesn't matter how much money you're making. If you're bored out of your mind, like what's the point, right? So being boring um, is a key to being successful in business, right? Like, so even if you're starting a business, like if you have a retail brick and mortar business, you have to have hours, right? Like people need to be able to show up at a certain time and know that your store is open, that you're there. It has to be predictable. And when you're doing an online business, because it's virtual, unless you're doing live events like, you know, via Zoom or, webinars, you can work your own hours, right? Like you can work whenever you want. But I think it's still important to have hours for yourself, right? Like commit to yourself. I'm going to work from 10 to 12 or from 2 to 4, right? Like pick times for yourself when you're going to work and not just, you know, work in general, but work on specific items. You need some sort of routine in order to be productive. Like when I first didn't have to work, I was so unproductive. Like I had no schedule, so I just, I would wake up thinking, well, I have the whole day, so I'm not going to plan anything because I have time to do everything. And you end up being super unproductive because you don't have any routine, you don't have any structure. And so you really need to create some structure. And it took me a long time when I wasn't working consistently to come up with structure in my life where I could actually be productive. So that's an important part, right? You have to have, even if you work from home and you set your own hours and you're your own boss, you still need quote unquote business hours. Like you need to give yourself specific times when you're working and you need to give yourself deadlines, right? Like even though you could go a week and not write a blog or post a video or write an email or do social media, like you don't want to let it slip that long, right? You want to have some sort of schedule. I do a video 3 days a week, or I do a blog 2 days a week, or I do social media every single day, or I write an email 3 times a week. Whatever your schedule is, you have to come up with some sort of boring, predictable schedule and routine that you can stick to and stay accountable, right? Because predictable routines lead to predictable results, right? So if you are just, consistently taking action and consistently doing the things you need to do, you're going to get the result, right? Like if you wanted to learn Spanish, you need to practice or study, 10, 20, 30 minutes a day or an hour a day, whatever it is. If it's boring, right? Like to spend time practicing, whatever you're trying to learn. If you're trying to learn guitar, like every day at this time, I'm going to practice for this long. But if you do that consistently, you're going to learn and you're going to get the result. Whereas if you just say, oh, I'll pick it up when I think about it, or when when I don't have anything else to do, like that's no way to be successful in business. Even if you're your own boss, even if you're working from home and you don't have, anywhere to show up and anyone to hold you accountable, like that's when you have to have a boring, predictable routine. And 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 that's one of the secrets to success. And I think it's, the whole reason I'm bringing this up is because I think it's a little bit counterintuitive. A lot of people go into business for themselves because they want to be their own boss, but you still have to be your own boss, you know, and part of being a boss is holding yourself accountable, giving yourself deadlines. Like deadlines are so critical. Like there's no one who's gonna fire me if I don't write a blog or if I don't post social media. Like no one is going to scold me or give me a bad review. Right? Like I have to hold myself accountable, and the only way to do that is to have a routine. And so my routine, I try to get up the same time every day, or I do get up at the same time every day, 7 days a week, and I do the same things every single day. And the very first part of my day is all about mindset. It's all about journaling and visualization, and then after I do that for 45 minutes or an hour, I'll spend a couple hours working on my business and usually work on whatever my top priority is, but it's pretty much creating some sort of content. And then when I run out of content, um, I go read or learn something, and and the ideas I get help me to create new content. So, I have a predictable, boring routine that allows me to consistently do the things I need to do to get the results I need to get. So that's what I'm trying to talk about, what I recommend. And, I think, like I said, so many people get into business for themselves because they don't want any schedule and they don't want, they want total freedom. And it's like, okay, I get that. But really what you want is something flexible, and you need something that's meaningful and you're passionate about. And that's work. But because you enjoy it, it doesn't feel like work. But you've got to be passionate in order to want to put in the time and want to do the work. So that's my spiel for today. Thanks for listening. And like I said, if you do me a favor and like the video and click the bell icon. If you got anything out of this, let me know or share it with a friend. And click on that link. That is, I'll tell you about Jeff Lerner's Entre Nation, which has really helped me. And he has a lot of training in there about this almost exact topic in creating a schedule for yourself. And he talks about morning routines and really valuable stuff in there. So I highly recommend you check that out. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome day, and we will talk soon.